Who is Savathun, you ask? You already know. Oh, guardian mine. I am your friend. I tried to protect you from the Black Fleet. You called it interference. Don't worry. I was not offended. Instead, I found a form more pleasing to your eyes. Osiris was lost, lightless. I saved him from Xivu Arath and assumed his shape so I could guide your victory against her. I ferried the reborn prince to your city so he could be redeemed. I protected Zavala from Kaido's ambitions, ending a war before it could even begin. I delivered the House of Light on its knees to Ikora. I unmasked the enemies lurking inside your city's walls and destroyed them. You may disagree with my methods, but you can't argue with results. I am no villain, and you are no hero. We are paracausal.
So now that we went over every light subclass in the game, let's now go over the potency of the light. First off, the light can destroy things on a subatomic level. I'll show scans on the screen as I'm talking. As you can see on the screen, there's many scans for the light being able to destroy things like cells or disintegrate things like cells. We see from Golden Gun, Hammer of Sol, and Dawnblade, they can destroy cells because they're all solar light. And then we have a statement or two about lightning, which can also harm you on a cellular level regarding arc. That should also be on the screen. And then after this, we'll go up a level. We're going to now talk about soul potency. So, we've actually fought and destroyed a ghost. What actually happened in Destiny 1 The Dark Below, we fought Crota 2 times. First, we fought his spirit, which was in reality. We literally fought a ghost and beat it up and forced it out of reality. The next, we raided Crota's throne world and we killed him in his throne world. So that should prove soul potency for the most part, or spiritual offense, if you will. And then another thing to talk about is concepts. I'll get to the high-end stuff later, and I'll just bring up a couple statements now as I'm talking.
Hive runes draw their power from a different dimension, where there's no difference between a word and its meaning. When the Hive erode the barrier between our dimension and theirs, the rune for death brings literal death. We saw this rune before, on the Dreadnought. It means either doorway, or treasure, or chamber. Perhaps the Hive used this rune to tap into their throne world dimensions.
First off, the Hive are from a dimension where words are no different than power. This is blatant conceptual manipulation. Also, there's another scan on the screen talking about a demiurge. A demiurge is a type of concept. You can consider that type 2 or type 3 conceptual if you like, I don't really care. And then after that, we'll talk about another statement regarding principles and systems later. But it's worth noting that the light can also multiply in power if the guardians are with other guardians. So that means we're able to do abnormal feats such as fight Oryx, even though before we can only fight his physical form. Or maybe we can fight things like the Sanctified Mind, even though he's like massively powerful than us in base form. So it's also worth noting that Coop scaling is a thing also, which again, I'll talk about in a later video. Alright, let's go over some scaling. So first off, every Guardian is a measurable speed intrinsically. This is because all Guardians are not bound by linear time. This is because Voidwalkers have 3 statements that matter. First off, you have the Voidwalker statement that says that Warlocks are not bound by the laws of space and time because they stared into the void. Then you have the Destiny 1 statement that says that, along with lore regarding to Destiny 1. And then you have the Destiny 2 statement, which also says, those who stared into the void are not bound by the laws of space and time. It also says that in Destiny 2 also. So there's 3 things that confirm that all Guardians are measurable speed. And we have 2 feats to support this. First off, there's Atheon in the Vault of Glass. Atheon forces time open with raw power. Of course, you know what happened, we killed Atheon. And then after that, we have another feat, where we fight a 10th dimensional planetary core, which if you're 10D, you're not bound by linear time. So a team of 6 Guardians, killing a 10D planetary core, they're probably 10D, or at the very least, immeasurable speed, intrinsically. So, there's that. As for attack potency and durability, the light allows the Guardians to attack Axis Mind level Vex like Brachian. Which, speaking of Brachian, let's nail this point home on High Hyperversal. So, all Axis Mind Vex are High Hyperversal. The Pyramidion was stated twice in the same strike to be infinite dimensional by Asher Mir.
You should now be entering a Hilbert space, if the Taken have not misaligned the Pyramidion space geometric intuitions.
Gesundheit.
I did not sneeze, you fool. It is an infinite dimensional functional space. The Vex often... Oh, why am I wasting my breath? You should now find yourself before an abyss of swirling data. Various realities being written and overwritten, you see.
I really want to tell you that's exactly what we're looking at. Hey, team, there are taken here. Team? That's fine. We're only inside of a giant planet-transforming pyramid with interdimensional specters and reality-bending robots. What could go wrong?
This is not the only Pyramidion. I do wonder if each one is an individual manifestation, linked to a common interior space, just as the Vex are linked to a common mind.
Doors open. Anything we should know as we go in?
The Genesis mind worked tirelessly to block my fire team's advance on his terminus. He reconfigured reality itself to stop us. It would not surprise me in the least if he intends to employ the same strategy with you, Assistant.
Reality seems pretty well configured in here, but we'll keep our eye out.
All Axis Mind Vex would scale around or above Brachion. We have multiple feats of fighting Axis Mind Vex as a fire team of 6. I don't see how Versus Battle Wiki doesn't have high hyperversal as an end because of Brachion and with the Vex scaling.
Queen Mara has already told you we must recover our lost Techians in order to free Savathun from her servitude to the Worm Gods. I will tell you how. Imagine the universe as a set of coins, stacked, one on top of the other. The top coin is our reality, the bottom, the ascendant plane. Between them lies an intermeshing of ever-shifting pathways, known as ley lines. Almost all the ancient pathways are now defunct, but beings of paracausal ability can navigate and rebuild them. This is the art of wayfinding. We know our lost Techians are stranded somewhere among the ley lines, and they're leaving us markers to follow. I'm forwarding you the coordinates to the first marker. It should tell us which ley line to look in. Then we'll use the blind well to tear open a rift and send you through to find them. Xivu Arath is desperate to capture her sister. Her forces, which now include the Taken, will attempt to stop you at every turn. Listen, I know your crow intends to accompany you. Mara also wants him close. Our Techians went to retrieve Queen Mara on my orders. This can't fail. Not because of him.
Before we go over more feats, first let's analyze the levels of Outerversal we're dealing with. So to start off, there's concepts. You can think of things such as transduality, being beyond the concepts of space and time, dimension, etc., things along of that nature to be Outerversal, where you're essentially beyond the concepts of space and time. You're that kind of concept. And then next, we go up a level, something called a principle. A principle is more or less a rule. A rules is something that is set in place in order to help govern a system, whether it's because the framework of the system requires it, or it's because the rule is there for some purpose we don't know about. Regardless, a principle is more or less a concept that is a rule. It should be an Outerversal difference above a concept, inherently. And then we go up a level, something called a system. A system is a framework or a set of ideas within a framework that is essentially a nature of sorts. Something that could be a good mentality, or a bad mentality, or a good belief, or a bad belief. A bunch of these beliefs that are held by people are governed by a system that they themselves make sense of. Systems themselves are generally subjective, but in Destiny's case, it's a level of Outerversal / a level of Hack's potency that should be an Outerversal difference above what we just described previously, a principle. So now, let's go up another level, an axiom. An axiom is a self-evident idea, a truth, something that does not require an explanation from the world. It's something that it itself is a truth. It is a self-evident thing. There's nothing that comes before it. It's self-evident. It's an axiom, an idea, a belief. Whenever we deal with these ends, we have to keep this in mind before we go over things along the lines of the outerversal ends, because sometimes they matter a lot, but it's going to differ from verse to verse on how they govern these things. So keep that in mind as you scale fiction verse. When Forsaken dropped, a very popular raid was released. Come on, you know what I'm talking about, it's Last Wish. Anyway, so I'll give you the TLDR. We want to avenge Cade. We also want loot. We go in and raid the place. We deal with one take-in. We go through some parkour. We find another take-in. We deal with it. We move forward in the raid. We kill Riven's pet ogre Bob. And then after that, we go and deal with Riven. The reason why Riven matters is because she has a few high universal feats of creating throne worlds. I'll go over Riven in a separate video, but the point with Riven is just that she has a few high universal feats, and it's actually a good feat for the fire team to be able to hurt, if not kill, Riven. Another feat we can look at is us killing Insurrection Prime after we kill Riven, which actually happens in Season of the Forge when we go and kill Insurrection Prime. Another feat we have is going and killing Gulron in Season of Opulence when Callus returns to the solar system to do something for us. Well, it's more like Callus is doing something for himself, but doing something for us. And then after the whole deal with Gulron happens and we become a Shadow of Earth, Shadowkeep happens. In Shadowkeep, we go and deal with the Sanctified Mind. The Sanctified Mind gets killed. After we deal with the Sanctified Mind, then the deal with the Undying Mind happens. So, let's get into the darkness. First off, there's a lot of things that are included in the term darkness, so we'll just focus on the ones that mainly matter here. The Taken in the Hive. So, to quickly run down the Taken in the Hive, Oryx is the Taken King. He's the strongest known Hive at this point. He scales above his sibling Zevir Wrath and his other sibling Savathun. The three gods, however, scale above the children of the gods, this being Crota, the daughters of Oryx, as well as Nokris, yada yada. The reason why these matter is because Nokris is a necromancer. He's able to separate concepts from consciousness. Crota is equal to the daughters, who have a truth between them, or an axiom. Then you have one of the daughters being stated twice over to be able to destroy an axiom. And then you have Oryx essentially being an axiom with the sword logic. So this is pretty high in the high outerversal. So let's take a quick look at the Ascendant Plane. The Ascendant Plane is basically this multiverse that's an allegorical space, or abstract conceptual space. In the Ascendant Plane you have the Sea of Screams, which is basically where all the Taken and all the normal Hive are at. The Hive and Taken you'd expect that don't matter. They stay in the Sea of Screams. And then you have the Throne Worlds. There's an infinite amount of Throne Worlds, and that there's an infinite amount of Hive. The Throne Worlds, however, scale in the way you probably didn't know that they did. The Throne Worlds actually scale above each other in a stacking pattern. Crota would have a Throne World that would actually scale below Oryx's, or Savathun, or Zevir Wrath's in this pattern. So Oryx would be at the top, Savathun would be below Zevir Wrath, Zevir Wrath would be below Oryx, but above Savathun, and everyone else would be below them in their Throne Worlds. So there's a lot of layer scaling you can argue here with the Ascendant Plane, but we're not going to get into that because that's not the point of the video. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on with the next portion of the video. Now, let's answer a question that all of this has been leading up to. How strong is the main character by Season of Arrivals? I'll answer that now. So, first off, the MC is at least in the same ballpark as the Sanctified Mind, as we're able to hurt the Undying Mind who scales relative to the Sanctified Mind. By Season of Arrivals, we more or less gained enough power to put us around the Undying Mind. Say, one-on-one, we could probably win, who knows.
Don't you see? It is as we once said. In light, there is only weakness, only failure, only death. But where the light takes, the dark gives. No longer will you be a pawn. No longer will you watch the lives of those you care for be lost. Remember, in darkness there is only strength, only victory, only life. Ancient power awaits you on Europa.
When we answered their call and went to Europa, we were given a power so intense that some don't even believe it is as powerful as it is today. We unlocked the power of stasis.
And here comes our guardian. Right on time.
Armed with this dark new power, the main character goes about dismantling the Dark Council, from taking apart Phylax to the Technorat to Aramis, to even going into the Deepstone Crypt and killing Atrax and Tanix. The main character of Stasis is a rather powerful character, but not a lot of people know the differences between the light and dark. I'll play a video now that explains that.
Your chains are showing. All that power, wasted serving false gods. Allow me to help you break free.
Ghost. This is... I can't. I'm sorry.
Look what I've done for you. No more light. No more dark.
Look within. Focus your power.
How interesting.
The only thing we have to break here is you.
Come then, Pawn. Show me what freedom has given you. It will not end this way. It can't. What?
Now I'll explain the seal scaling for Stasis. So for Seal 1, Aramis had Seal 1. The MC had Seal 1 until he fought another member of the Dark Council, got through Splinter, and then unlocked Seal 2. And then the same thing happened when the MC fought a Dark Council member and then unlocked Seal 3, which was stated to be the most powerful version of Stasis known at that time. Then the MC fought Aramis, unlocked Stasis, went to the Ziggurat, unlocked Seal 4. But then, it doesn't end after that, because you have the MC obtaining 2 new grenades, you have the MC obtaining the 4 aspects, and then the 14 fragments. So now, let's answer the final question we all have on our minds. How strong is the main character in Season of the Lost? I'll put it to you like this. Zuvu Wrath has been getting a lot more powerful since the last time we've heard of her in lore, and at the same time Savathun's been getting a lot more powerful, as we can clearly see in lore and what's going to happen in Witchgrid. So for right now, the MC seems to scale around Xivu Arath in power, or a bit lower, But regardless, the MC is ballparking around that region. This is talking about the light and with stasis. So I'll just leave it to you like that. Anyway, if you like content like this, please leave a like and drop a comment of what you'd like to see next. My name is Nothing Important here, and if you like my content, again, please like, share, and sub if you're new, and just come by if you'd like in the server. It's awesome. Anyway, I'll see y'all later. Bye.